Hello, and welcome to Sleepy Theory. This channel is a place for calm science and slow explanations. In this video, we will explore the deep ocean and a region known as the Midnight Zone. You can listen closely, or you can simply relax and let the sound continue. If you enjoy quiet and relaxing science content, you can subscribe to support the channel. Now, get comfortable, and let's begin. Welcome. In this chapter, we will explore one of the least understood places on Earth, a place that exists far below the surface of the ocean, a place known as the Midnight Zone. The Midnight Zone is also called the bathypelagic zone. It begins about 1,000 meters below the ocean's surface. From here, it extends downward to nearly 4,000 meters. At this depth, sunlight cannot reach the water. Even on the brightest day, the ocean here remains completely dark. This darkness is not temporary. It does not change with time. It does not respond to seasons or weather. The Midnight Zone exists in permanent night. As we descend into this region, several important changes occur. Light disappears. Temperature drops. Pressure increases. The pressure in the Midnight Zone is extreme. It can be hundreds of times greater than the pressure at sea level. For humans, this pressure would be fatal. For deep-sea life, it is normal. Animals here are built differently. Their bodies are flexible, often soft, designed to survive compression. The temperature remains cold, usually just above freezing. Unlike surface waters, it stays almost constant all year. There are no plants in the Midnight Zone. Without sunlight, photosynthesis is impossible. This means the entire food system depends on other sources. Most food arrives from above. Tiny particles of organic matter slowly sink from the surface. Dead plankton, waste material, fragments of larger animals. Scientists call this steady fall marine snow. Marine snow drifts downward very slowly. It may take days or weeks to reach the deep ocean. For animals living in the Midnight Zone, this falling material is essential. It is their primary source of energy. Because food is limited, deep-sea animals must conserve energy. They move slowly. They rest often. Sudden movement is rare. Nothing is wasted. Sound also behaves differently at these depths. The ocean above absorbs most surface noise. What remains is a quiet, stable environment. This silence helps reduce stress on animals. It allows them to detect subtle vibrations in the water. In complete darkness, vision becomes less important for survival. Some animals have very large eyes to detect faint light. Others have reduced eyesight, or none at all. Instead of seeing, many rely on sensing movement and pressure changes. One of the most remarkable features of the midnight zone is bioluminescence. Bioluminescence is the ability of living organisms to produce light. This light is created through chemical reactions inside the body. It produces very little heat. Bioluminescence is common in the deep ocean. More than half of all deep-sea animals can glow in some way. The light is usually blue or green. These colors travel farther through seawater than others. Bioluminescence serves many purposes. Some animals use it to avoid predators. Others use it to find food. Some use it to communicate. A small fish may glow underneath its body. This matches the faint light coming from above. From below, the fish becomes almost invisible. This strategy is called counter-illumination. Other animals use sudden flashes of light to confuse attackers. A brief glow can disrupt a predator's sense of direction. Some species use light to attract prey. A glowing organ may hang in front of the mouth. Curious animals approach the light. The movement is slow. The outcome is quiet. Jellyfish are common in the midnight zone. Their bodies are mostly transparent. Their light pulses gently as they move. They do not actively swim. They drift with deep currents. Large animals also inhabit this region. Giant squids, deep-sea sharks, large predatory fish. These animals are rarely seen by humans. Most of what we know comes from deep-sea submersibles. Many deep-sea animals live long lives. Their slow metabolism reduces wear on the body. Growth is slow. Reproduction is rare. Some animals rise toward the surface at night to feed. They travel hundreds of meters upward. Before daylight returns, they descend again. This daily movement is called vertical migration. It is the largest animal migration on Earth. Even though billions of animals take part, it happens almost completely unnoticed. The midnight zone plays an important role in Earth's ecosystem. It helps regulate carbon by trapping organic material in the deep ocean. In this way, the deep sea influences the planet's climate, quietly, slowly. The midnight zone has existed for millions of years, long before humans appeared. It has remained stable, while life above changed dramatically. As you imagine this environment, picture yourself floating calmly. No need to move. No need to focus. Just observe. The deep ocean does not rush. It does not demand attention. It simply continues. This is the midnight zone. Dark. Cold. Quiet. A place where life adapts to stillness and survives through patience. In the midnight zone, pressure shapes everything. It is one of the most important forces in the deep ocean. For every 10 meters of depth, pressure increases. By the time we reach the midnight zone, the water presses with enormous force. Deep-sea animals do not resist this pressure. They adapt to it. Many have no air-filled spaces in their bodies, no lungs like ours, no rigid bones filled with air. Instead, their bodies are soft and flexible. Pressure moves through them evenly. Nothing collapses. This is why many deep-sea animals appear fragile. At the surface, they cannot survive. But in the deep, they are perfectly stable. Another challenge in the midnight zone is finding food. Because meals are rare, animals must be efficient. Some fish have very large mouths. They can swallow prey almost their own size. When food appears, it may be the only chance for days or weeks. Digestion is slow. Energy is stored carefully. Reproduction is also different in the deep sea. Finding a mate is difficult in complete darkness. Some species release eggs and sperm into the water, trusting currents to carry them together. Others produce light patterns to signal their presence. Brief flashes, simple messages. In some species, males and females look very different. Males may be small and short-lived. Females grow larger and live longer. This increases the chance that reproduction will succeed. Humans have visited the midnight zone only rarely, mostly through unmanned vehicles and deep-sea submersibles. These machines move slowly. Lights are kept low. Noise is minimized. Sudden sound or bright light can disturb deep-sea animals. Many retreat. Some stop glowing. What we know about the midnight zone comes from brief visits and careful observation. Even today, much of this region remains unexplored. The deep ocean covers most of our planet, yet we understand only a small part of it. The Midnight Zone reminds us that Earth still holds quiet mysteries. It is not a place of danger. It is a place of balance. Every organism here exists in harmony with darkness, pressure, and time. Nothing struggles against the environment. Everything adapts. This is a useful lesson, not only for science, but for us. The Midnight Zone shows us that survival does not always require speed, or force, or noise. Sometimes survival comes from patience, from stillness, from careful use of energy. As you continue listening, imagine the slow movements of the deep sea. Imagine the quiet exchange of light, the gentle drift of marine snow, the steady pressure holding everything in place. There is no rush here, no demand. Only continuation. The Midnight Zone remains in darkness, unchanged by the surface world. And as it exists quietly below, you are free to rest above. Let your breathing slow. Let your thoughts settle. This chapter ends here, but the deep ocean continues. Welcome. In this chapter, we continue our journey deeper into the ocean. We are leaving the midnight zone behind, and slowly, we arrive at the Abyssal Plains. The Abyssal Plains begin around 4,000 meters below the surface. They stretch across vast areas of the ocean floor. In fact, they are the largest environment on Earth. Most of our planet is covered by these deep, flat regions, yet we rarely think about them, and we rarely see them. The Abyssal Plains exist in complete darkness. No sunlight has ever reached this depth. The water here is cold, just above freezing, and it remains this way all year. Pressure is extremely high. Thousands of tons of water press down from above. Despite these conditions, life continues. The seafloor here is mostly flat, wide and open, covered in fine sediment. This sediment has settled slowly over millions of years, tiny particles falling from the surface, one layer at a time. Movement on the Abyssal Plains is slow. There is no need to rush. Food is scarce in this environment. There are no plants, no algae, no sunlight-driven life. Most food arrives as organic material from above. Marine snow continues its long journey downward. By the time it reaches the Abyssal Plains, very little remains. Because of this, animals here must be extremely efficient. Many abyssal animals move very slowly. They conserve energy. They wait. Sea cucumbers are common on the Abyssal Plains. They move gently across the sediment, collecting organic material. They play an important role. They recycle nutrients. They keep the seafloor active. Starfish also inhabit these plains. Their movements are slow and deliberate. Some species can live for decades, growing gradually, without urgency. Crustaceans are present as well. Small, shrimp-like animals, quiet scavengers. They respond to subtle changes in the water, sensing food long before it arrives. Fish on the Abyssal Plains are often small. Their bodies are adapted to pressure. Their muscles are weak but efficient. Many have reduced skeletons, less structure, less resistance. This allows them to survive where rigid bodies cannot. Oxygen levels are low in the deep sea. Animals have adapted to use oxygen efficiently. Their metabolism is slow. Their heartbeats are gentle. Reproduction in the Abyssal Plains is rare and unpredictable. Encounters between individuals are uncommon. Some species release eggs into the water. Others brood their young carefully. Survival depends on patience. The Abyssal Plains are not completely still. Occasionally, currents pass through. These currents redistribute sediment. They shape the seafloor over time. Earthquakes can also affect the Abyssal Plains. Sediment may shift suddenly, then slowly settle again. Volcanic activity can occur nearby, but its effects are muted at this depth. Most change here happens slowly, over thousands of years. Human presence in the Abyssal Plains is minimal. Very few missions have reached this depth. Most exploration is done using robotic vehicles, moving carefully, observing quietly. Artificial light is kept low. Noise is reduced. Sudden disturbance can affect deep-sea animals. Many respond by becoming completely still. Some disappear into the sediment. Others stop moving altogether. The Abyssal Plains play an important role in Earth's systems. They store large amounts of carbon. Organic material becomes trapped in sediment, removed from the atmosphere. This process helps regulate Earth's climate, slowly, silently. The deep seafloor also holds mineral resources. Metals form nodules over millions of years. These nodules grow extremely slowly, only a few millimeters over thousands of years. Their existence reminds us how different deep-sea time is from human time. The Abyssal Plains have remained stable for longer than human history. Civilizations rose and fell, while this environment remained unchanged. Imagine floating just above the seafloor now. The sediment below you is soft, undisturbed. Each step would leave a mark that could remain for decades. Nothing erases quickly here. The darkness is complete, but it is not empty. Life exists quietly, without competition, without urgency. The Abyssal Plains show us that life does not always need abundance. Sometimes it only needs enough. As you listen, let the slowness of this place affect your thoughts. There is no pressure to move, no demand to act. Just continuation. The Abyssal Plains remain below the surface, unseen, unnoticed. Yet they support the balance of the entire ocean. And as they continue quietly, you are free to rest. This is the Abyssal Plains, wide, dark, calm. A place where patience is survival and stillness is natural. In this chapter, we move deeper than almost anywhere else on Earth. We are leaving the Abyssal Plains behind. The flat, wide seafloor slowly disappears. The ocean floor begins to change. It slopes downward, then steeper, then suddenly, it falls away. We are entering the Hadal zone. The Hadal zone begins around 6,000 meters below the surface. It extends down into deep ocean trenches. These trenches are narrow, steep, and incredibly deep. The most famous of them is the Mariana Trench. The Mariana Trench is located in the western Pacific Ocean. It is the deepest known place on Earth. At its lowest point, called the Challenger Deep, the depth reaches nearly 11,000 meters. That is deeper than Mount Everest is tall. At this depth, sunlight is completely absent. It has never reached here, not once. The water temperature is cold, just above freezing, and it never changes. But the most extreme condition in the Hadal zone is pressure. The pressure here is immense, more than 1,000 times the pressure at sea level. For a human body, this pressure would be instantly fatal. But life still exists here. The Hadal zone was once believed to be lifeless, too deep, too dark, too extreme. For a long time, scientists assumed nothing could survive under such conditions. In the mid-20th century, deep-sea expeditions began to reach these depths. What they found was unexpected. Life was present, not abundant, but real. Small organisms, slow-moving animals, quiet survivors. Fish have been observed at depths once thought impossible. These fish are different from surface species. Their bodies are soft. Their bones are lightly structured. They contain special proteins that help stabilize their cells under pressure. Without these adaptations, their bodies could not function. Many Hadal animals have no swim bladders. Air-filled spaces would collapse instantly. Instead, their bodies are filled with fluids that balance pressure evenly. Movement in the Hadal zone is extremely slow. Energy is scarce. There are no plants here, no algae, no sunlight-based food chain. Most food arrives from above, small fragments drifting down from the upper ocean. Some material also slides down trench walls, sediment slowly moving downward. This creates a slightly higher concentration of food than on the Abyssal Plains. Because of this, trenches can support unique communities. Amphipods are common in the Hadal zone, small, shrimp-like scavengers. They gather quietly around any available food source. Their movements are gentle, efficient, never rushed. Sea cucumbers are also found here, adapted to pressure, slowly processing sediment. Even microorganisms thrive in these extreme conditions. Bacteria play a major role in recycling nutrients. They break down organic matter that reaches the trench floor. The Hadal zone is also geologically active. Ocean trenches are formed where tectonic plates meet. One plate slowly slides beneath another, a process called subduction. This movement shapes the deep ocean floor over millions of years. Earthquakes occur here, but at these depths, their effects are muted. Change happens slowly, almost imperceptibly. Human visits to the Hadal zone are extremely rare. Only a few crewed submersibles have ever reached the deepest trenches. These missions are brief, carefully planned, technologically complex. Most exploration today is done using robotic vehicles. These machines descend for hours, moving slowly, observing quietly. Lights are kept minimal. Noise is reduced. Sudden disturbance can affect deep-sea organisms. Some animals retreat into the sediment. Others become completely still. Even now, much of the Hadal zone remains unexplored. We know more about the surface of the moon than about these depths. The Hadal zone reminds us that Earth still holds unknown places. Places that exist without human presence. Without observation. Life here does not rely on abundance. It relies on adaptation, on patience, on efficiency. Every organism here is shaped by pressure and time. Nothing grows quickly. Nothing moves without purpose. The Hadal zone operates on a different rhythm. A rhythm measured in thousands of years. As you imagine this environment, picture the trench walls rising around you. Steep, dark, silent. The water presses from all sides, but nothing resists it. Everything accepts it. There is no struggle here, only balance. The Hadal zone teaches us that life can exist even under the most extreme conditions. not by force, but by adjustment. By becoming part of the environment, not separate from it. As you listen, allow this idea to settle. There is no need to hurry, no need to push. Like the Hadal zone, you are allowed to slow down. To exist quietly, to adapt gently. Far below the surface, the deepest parts of the ocean continue. Unseen, unchanged. This is the Hadal zone, home to trenches, pressure, and quiet survival. In the Hadal zone, scientific discovery happens slowly. Reaching these depths takes many hours. Every descent is planned carefully. Every observation is limited by time and technology. Because of this, much of what we know comes from brief moments of contact. Short video recordings, small sediment samples, careful measurements taken in silence. These observations show that Hadal life depends on cellular stability. Extreme pressure affects proteins and membranes. To survive, organisms produce special molecules that protect their internal structures. These molecules prevent damage and allow normal biological processes to continue. Temperature also plays an important role. In the Hadal zone, conditions remain stable for long periods of time. There are no sudden storms, no rapid changes. Cold and darkness remain constant. This stability allows life to adapt gradually rather than react suddenly. Energy conservation is essential. Movement is slow. Behavior is deliberate. Nothing happens without reason. Human presence at these depths is rare. When objects reach the trench floor, they may remain unchanged for decades. Currents are weak. Disturbance fades slowly. For this reason, the Hadal zone is highly sensitive to external impact. Even small changes can last for a very long time. The Hadal zone is not isolated. What happens in the upper ocean eventually reaches the deepest trenches. Particles sink, chemistry changes, connections remain. As this chapter continues, allow the depth of the ocean to slow your thoughts. There is no need to move quickly. Far below the surface, the Hadal zone remains steady. And here, you are free to rest.